you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Secretary Buzzett, thank you. And I'm going to go ahead now and open it up for questions.
Eric, I have one. John Thaxton, Sarasota County.
Commissioner, how are you today?
Very fine, Eric. Mr. Secretary, thanks for taking the time to put up with us. My question has to do with how would you see this reformed agencies, what would be its role in helping local governments with interjurisdictional impacts that growth management decisions from one jurisdiction could have profound impacts both financially, socially, and cultural on another jurisdiction? In the past, DCA had played a role of kind of mediating those impacts, and I did not hear anything in your presentation, although I was a little bit late in joining it, that would address DCA's role for interjurisdictional impacts.
Well, I appreciate the question. I anticipate that we'll still be actively involved in that. We still have the DRI process. In the sector process, it's almost by definition it's going to be multi-jurisdictional, and just in the traditional land use process. So the department's still going to have a role in land use. It just won't be as formal and organized as you see today with respect to ORCs and notices of intent. But I anticipate that our engagement will still be there. And I think it will be.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I just have a quick question. I don't know if this is appropriate, and I'm sorry. This is Commissioner Tammy Hall with Lee County. Where are the regional planning councils falling into all of this? Has there been any discussion on what their role is going to be, or if that's going to change?
There has been. I guess I'd focus on two areas. On DRIs, they'd still have the same engagement that they do today. And with respect to sector plan, they'll have a broader engagement. Today, under the pilot program for sector plans, the regional planning councils conduct scoping meetings between the various stakeholder groups, local governments, and agencies. That doesn't change under the new provisions of the law. So I imagine that RPCs will still have that role. The bottom line today, I think, is just budget. And, what can the state can it continue to make a contribution towards the RPC's budgets or not? And, these are tough times and tough decisions are being made. But as far as process-wise, I still see the RPCs being engaged.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Wow, that was easy.
Yeah.
It was. Thank you.
Secretary Buzzett, let me just make one additional announcement. Our association's legislative day is on Wednesday, the 23rd of this month, next Wednesday. And Secretary has graciously accepted our invitation to speak to us in the morning sometime between 9 and 9:30. Secretary, I want to thank you for accepting that invitation and for participating in today's webinar. If folks have additional questions or inquiries, is there a person that they can contact at the agency other than yourself to talk about these things?
Just have them call Rita, my assistant, and if I can't do it, I'll get somebody to do it for me.
Great. Okay.
I want to make sure that at every opportunity we're being very transparent about the issues that we're interested in, and would appreciate any suggestions or input you have on those. I think this year it's going to be a dynamic year as far as growth management. I'm pretty convinced that something will happen this session, and we look forward to working with you all on that.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. You are more than welcome to stay on the call and listen to some of the stuff that you already know about regarding the House proposal and some Senate initiatives.
Eric, if you don't mind, I think I'm going to drop off, but I appreciate the invitation.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Sir, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Next, we're going to go into the House proposal. Some of this was discussed at our previous webinar a couple of weeks ago, at least from the conceptual level. It was based on some initiatives and proposals coming out of the Florida Chamber. Some of those are being pulled into the House proposed committee bill. The House does now have a PCB, i.e. a proposed committee bill, The number is CMAS 11-04. We'll have a link to our website so you can go to that. It's the bill is about 283 pages. FAC has not gone through the entire bill, but we know major components of it, and that's what I'm going to go through right now for those who want to stay on the call. As indicated on the slide, this is a fairly major overhaul of growth management, the Growth Management Act. It does repeal Rule 9J5, and it is pulling in what they believe are relevant standards from the rule into the statute. And I think that is part of the reason the bill is so long. Of significance, they are eliminating the financial feasibility requirement that was pulled in 2005 as part of the first Senate Bill 360. There is no mandatory update of the capital improvements element and no annual review from DCA. It eliminates transportation concurrency as a statewide requirement, but it allows it to remain as a local option, and this is something that the association, along with the league, has participated and argued for over the past couple of weeks. Again, from 2005 Senate Bill 360, which added school concurrency and required a separate element. It eliminates school concurrency as a statewide requirement, but retains it as a local option. The Secretary mentioned the alternative state review process. I think the House bill renames it the expedited state review process. This becomes really the standard review process for nearly all comp plan and comp plan amendments, and this will apply statewide. At this point, there's no local option, although we have testified that we would like to see that as a local option. The twice per year limit on plan amendments has been eliminated, so a local government can amend their plan at any time. With respect to state commenting agencies like DOT and DEP, the bill, at least the draft bill, spoke to state agencies only commenting on state resources within their jurisdiction, and there's at least some attempts to try to specifically identify certain state resources that those agencies would review. And that's what this first slide indicates.
Hey, Eric, can I interrupt just a real quick thing?
Yes.
It's John Thaxton again, Sarasota County. Can you put online the Secretary and this PowerPoint so that we can print hard copies to have and distribute?
Yes.
Okay,
Commissioner, we'll have we'll send out to all the participants a link to the slides and both proposals from the House and the Secretaries.
Right. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. With respect to with challenges, the state can only challenge amendments based on review agency comments, and again, affected persons can challenge within 30 days. Let me go back. Is there any questions on the House proposal at this point? Okay. I just want to mention the governor's budget proposal that the Secretary alluded to. The budget itself eliminates the Division of Community Planning, which is the division that does all comp plan reviews. 53 positions. The way we originally read the budget was being transferred to from DCP to DEP. We think what we understand now is only 10 positions remain for comp plan review functions, whether it goes to DEP or to some other jobs agency. Emergency management is administratively moved to the Executive Office of the Governor. Just a couple other things. Code compliance transferred to DPPR. The Forest Communities Trust, the land buying arm of DCA, is transferred to DEP. And this is an older slide from a couple of weeks ago, and I think the Secretary confirmed that the rumors that some state planning review functions would be assigned to a newly created economic development agency. I think that's at least the push from the governor's office. Any questions on that?
That's the jobs.
That's the jobs.
Just a couple of bills that are over in the Senate. My sense at this point is the Senate is going to watch and see what the House does. Obviously, the Senate Community Affairs and its chair, Senator Bennett, has a very strong interest in this issue. He's been the bill sponsor for the original Senate Bill 360 and then the second Senate Bill 360. Our discussions with him, don't want to speak too far offline, but I'm not convinced that his proposal will be as broad and as deep as the House is at this point. But just a couple of bills of note, he has filed 1122, which revises the urban service area definition. His proposal extends financial feasibility to 2013. The impact fee language, which was a part of a bill in 2009, House Bill 227, which dealt with developers challenging local governments' impact fee ordinances. He's got language in there to correct that, and so long as he gets a two-thirds majority, then it would cure the unfunded mandates issue that we currently have in court. It requires no PAGA study on the local government certification program, and then it creates an autonomous planning program which basically would allow a county or city to designate certain areas within their community, and those would basically be exempt from state review. Another bill, Senate Bill 1512 that the Senator has filed, deals with the land use need issue that the Secretary had mentioned that they are supporting and pushing. And this should actually be proportionate share calculation rather than property share calculation. Apologize for that, but it amends how counties charge proportionate share for transportation and deals with crediting of impact fees. And finally, Senate Bill 1910 eliminates regional planning councils altogether. Just to let you know, there's no House companion to that bill. And that is the end of the webinar. We apologize for the initial hiccup. Is there any questions on what we presented or even what the Secretary had talked about?
Hey, Eric, it's Karen Marcus.
Good morning, Commissioner.
The Senate bill that was is doing away with regional planning councils. Who's the sponsor of that?
It is Senator Diaz de la Portilla.
Okay. And part of the conversation that I should have probably asked the Secretary was, how does the department feel about all of the growth management legislation, in particular Senator Bennett's fix to 360 as it relates to what the department is trying to do?
It's a very good question, and my sense is based on a panel that he and I participated on. The question was asked about the elimination of transportation concurrency, and his response was he thought that was something that he would support altogether. So that might give you a sense for where he sits on the whole reenactment of Senate Bill 360. We did not ask the specific question how he would interpret that or whether his interpretation would be different than the previous secretaries.
Yeah, we probably ought to put that on our list for next week. And from my the conversation that we had with the Secretary was that it would be local option to have any kind of concurrency, whether we wanted school or transportation.
That's correct.
And yet Senator Bennett, in my charming conversation with him, wanted to put some rules in there. So we'll have to follow that up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Senator doesn't always reveal his cards, as you know well.
Yes.
Any other questions? We have this is one of our larger webinars. We have about 50 to 60 folks on there. We appreciate you participating. We'll probably have a couple of more before the session's over, and we'll probably certainly have one more on growth management as the Senate comes out with its proposal. If there's no other questions, I'll pause for a second. We'll go ahead and end the webinar. Again, this will be the links to all the information on these will be sent out to everybody, all the participants, and we'll have it information on our website as well. Thank you.
Thanks.
Buddy in Tallahassee.
Yeah.